Hey, looky here. We're back. Welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Well, we are those people, and we've been having these conversations since college.
Yeah, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast, Married at First Sight, San Diego, season 9?
Season 15, man.
Season 15, I'm sorry. Season 15, episode 14, recap. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
I can't believe you went back to season 9, which was what we did for 90 Day Fiancé, after doing 13 episodes of season 15 of San Diego.
They all blur together. I'm sorry.
It must have been a long day.
There's anyone out there that can keep them all separate. They all just blur together. It was a long night at work. So...
To be fair, we are recording this probably an hour later than we normally would, just because we had to start watching the show later because I had a long travel day. You had a long work day. It's been a long ass day.
But we are here.
And, you know, we got to be happy as we start off with our first couple, Alexis and no longer no busting Justin, but busting all over the place quickly, Justin. Because he finally got some, and that was even after he was saying that bro time means monopoly. So, I mean, she really wanted to give him some. She must have been like, I'm in heat right now.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, well, no longer no busting Justin. Was he 2 pump, 5 pump? Just 5 minutes, Justin? 1, 2, 3. Hey, good for him. We've all been there. And, you know, he's been celibate for so long that he finally, you know, got some. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to go pretty quick. Now, what do they call it now? So they're no longer celibate. What are they?
Maybe they have cemented the...
the consummate... The consummated?
They consolidated the relationship.
They consolidated.
You know what's so bad? Here's the bad thing about this, because he said it again today, right? When the season started, he was saying the word correctly. He was saying celibate. But he hung around Alexis and wanted something so bad and wanted to fall in love with her so bad that he picked up her trash-ass word, celibate.
This is why you got to watch who you keep in your circle. They're either going to make you better or they're going to make you worse-em, as my grandma would say. Worse-em.
Yeah, and he definitely got worser. Yo, here's the funny thing, though. Before we find out about how the actual act was, they go to the winery. Mm-hmm. Justin is trying his best to act cool. He got the booty. He's acting cool, right? But not just cool. He's acting like, cause she's like, yeah, you've got that. I just got some glow. And he's just like, meh, I don't feel like anything's changed. That just tells me it wasn't as good to him as he expected it would be, right? Am I the only one that sees this? Like, he's just like, she's just like, it was a bomb, wasn't it?
No, he's just being a Mitch, because that's what Justin does. Every time that Alexis was like, you know, ready, he wants to get into his feels and talk. Mm-hmm. And so they had the nice date at the winery. Then he wants to sit down. She's enjoying this. Yeah. And so now he wants to mess it up with some conversation. And when she was saying that, hey, it seems like you a little more relaxed. Just say, I sure am relaxed. Thanks, baby. Can't wait to get you back to the hotel. Do it again.
Right.
Yeah. You know, whatever. I've been thinking about some things I want to do on top of what we did the other night. So you might want to stretch. you might want to do some stretches because you're going to need it. So he should have just said that. But instead, he wanted to get all in his feels. And that's where he loses her.
It came off as if he was no longer interested. That's kind of like what I read. And like, he was just like, you know, I don't know. Is it
kind of like the guy thing? Like once you get some, you're like, well.
All that just skeeted right out. So you're just like, all right, we're good.
I used to really like you. Then what happened? Well, we had sex.
But see, okay, that is the danger Ladies, that is the danger in making that man wait all that time, especially if you let a time. But people used to do the 90-day rule and all that other crap. Because on that 91st day, if he hit it and it ain't up to waiting the extra 89 days that he really wanted to wait, because he usually give you a day or two, right?
Well, all that buildup, if you tell a guy from the beginning it's going to be 90 days, well, now you become his Mount Everest. He's like,
Yes.
You know what? I'm going to climb that mountain. I have a goal. But once he climbs Mount Everest, no one climbs Mount Everest, comes down and goes, hey, let's do it again. Like, done.
Check. Bucket list.
Yeah, check box. Bucket list done. Appreciate it.
Look, that's why I used to set expectations really low. Hey, look, baby, 3 inches, 2 minutes. Because while the other dude is telling you he got a foot in his pants and he going for an hour easily, he can give you 30. You feel cheated because he promised you an hour. I promised you 2. I give you 15. We good.
I'm going to go out there like just an MVP. You know what? I'm just going to go out there, do my best. Hopefully we have a good game. That's all I do. I'm going to leave it all on the court. I'm going to leave it all on the court. I can't guarantee how many points I'm going to get, but I'm just going to leave it all on the court. See what happens.
Think about it. Some of the best MVPs, they don't talk shit prior to the game. It's during the game, it's after the game. So we ain't going to tell you what you're going to do before. The proper people don't. But after.
It's after the game when I'm getting you a glass of water, be like, you good?
Yeah, yeah, I'll get you another one. you need to cool off.
I'm not going to touch you. I'm just bringing you the water.
Yo, here's the thing, though. We know none of that happened in this one with these two because Alexis is constantly embarrassing this man. She got with the girls and Stasia's face when Alexis was telling all that stuff was pure comedy. I'm like, yo, that's my girl right there.
She couldn't wait to spill the tea. Like, I can't wait to go tell Nate. But yeah, why would she? So that's her deal about boundaries. There's certain things just keep them amongst yourself. As soon as she found out that Justin was celibate, she's telling her girl, he's celibate.
Yeah.
And like, why would you say that to them? They don't need to know that.
Exactly.
And then why would you have that conversation with Krysten and Stacia? I said her name right. You like that?
You did.
Krysten and Stacia. And why? I mean, I would never. I've known you for years. I would never tell you about my sex life with someone I care about.
Yeah.
With someone
and
I really
wouldn't want to hear it.
You will not know it. If I don't really like her, of course.
Hey,
that'd be
give me all the deets.
I remember back in college, I called you 3 o'clock in the morning. You are not going to believe this. But I would never say that about somebody I like. My wife. Even though it's on the show, I'm not going to tell you about the sex life with my wife. Ever.
Exactly. Never. Never, ever, ever, ever.
Ever. On my deathbed, how is it? Don't worry about it. Oh.
You'll never know.
You'll never know.
So, speaking of Stacia, or as Nate likes to call her, Stasia's freaky ass. Her and Nate. I mean, not a whole lot to talk about in this. We just realized that they are the freaks. And now we know why they wanted to shoot these 9.5-week scenes with them because, that's them. They're like, all right, we've drummed up enough drama for the beginning of this season. Now let's get to what we really want to get to, the sexiness.
Well, the pleasure panties, which I like that idea. I did make note. I'm like, that's interesting. Like that. But, the sex swing, that part tripped me out. Because I'm like, okay, I don't want to borrow your nasty ass sex swing.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure y'all done a lot with that. I don't need to borrow that. We've had COVID. There's no sanitizer. There's no wipes. That just does not look safe. But then just to stand there in the room while they're trying to teach people how to use the swing and teach Lindy and Miguel, I'm like, what is y'all's freaky ass deal?
Okay, I had no issue with them teaching them how to use the swing because, trust me, Miguel and Lindy look like they wouldn't have no idea what to do with that swing. And as you can see, they were probably pretending they didn't, or they really didn't. It was one of the two, right? But it looked like they needed some instruction, especially Lindy. Like, it looks like the door's gonna come down. You're not that goddamn heavy, okay? That's why Nate had to get up there and show how it's done. But I will say, I thought initially, and it's funny you say that because I thought initially that they bought them a swing. But he even said, "Do you want to borrow the swing?" Right. Later on, I'm like, I am not gonna let you, and you're my boy. I'm not going to let you borrow my swing and expect it back.
I'm not even sleeping in your bed. So let's just do that. If you're like, hey, Terrell, I'm out of town. You can take my room. I'm like, nope, couch is good.
Are you sure that's safe too?
I'll sleep by the vegetable drawer because I know you don't go near that.
I'll eat on the kitchen table. Ah. It's the reason I don't have people over at my house.
That's why there's 409. Wax on, wax off. Be fine.
What did you think of the vibrating panties at the dinner, though? I mean, I thought it's obvious the switch broke. I like how everybody was like, wait a minute, what is that sound?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I thought that was... I think that's something you can do around a close group of people like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not embarrassing. She didn't make a fool of herself. Now, she did do this on national TV and, her mama watching.
Yeah.
But still,
and with the Daisy Dukes on. So, and I mean, this could have gone really one way or the other.
I thought it was funny. I thought that was funny. More power to him. Like I said, I like Stacia. If Nate don't work out and she wants to come to the great state of Texas, it's a lot cheaper to live here than in San Diego. Just throwing it out there.
No state income tax.
Yeah. I don't care who your daddy is. I love you anyway. I don't care what side. Black, white, green, doesn't matter.
But I will say, their reaction to all the other couples is what had me dying throughout this entire episode, right? Because their reactions to them, when everybody's talking and having their issues, and they just look at each other and looking around, and I'm like, no words needed. Those two communicate with nonverbals very well, and we all picked up on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they sure did. Stasia's face, she's hilarious. She has no poker face. You know exactly what she's thinking, and I was here for it. It was all comedy. And even Nate has that look in his face like, yeah, I know.
Yep.
He ain't gonna say anything. But he's just on the low key, just throwing out little gems, talking about Justin and Mitch and all of them. I mean, I think there was some good comedy relief in this episode, I think.
Indeed. It was a great balance. And we actually got to see some balance come out of Krysten and Son-Of-A-Mitch. In the beginning, it was what we saw before. Krysten wanted Mitch to be someone that he's not, he's not happy with you. He'll sleep with you, but he's not really attracted to you. And then they go through, she gets on him, even calls him a son of a Mitch. But then they get past that. And I thought they had a good episode.
I thought they had a good episode, too. I do like the fact that they took that time in the car on that road trip to talk through some things.
Yes.
And what I hope men get out of watching that is like how powerful your words are. Mm-hmm. And you just can't throw out, I wasn't attracted, because that's going to be in someone's head. And she could not let that go, rightfully so. Mm-hmm. Right? So it just shows that your words are powerful, what you say, and not even just in relationships, just in life in general. What you say, your tongue's probably the best weapon that you have, because it can cut just like that.
Oh, a couple of things.
True. So, I think they did. I think they did a good job with that. I thought it was odd for Mitch to say that he felt that he was attacked and he was thrown under the bus based on that last episode. And I'm like, did you hear all the things that you said? Why would you feel that you're attacked? Don't try to flip it. I thought that was a little bit of a Mitch move that he did.
It was, but at the same time, I also understood why he said that, because the fact that he was like, Did I say that? He didn't say it to everyone else. Now, granted, you're on a reality TV show. The producers talk. Everything you say is recorded. It's going to get around, regardless. But that was the messy thing that Alexis did, and then Alexis told Justin, and just like, yeah, well, I've heard that before. Yeah, you heard it from her. You didn't hear it from him. Stop it. Because all the other guys are like, never heard that. So, yeah, I can see why he felt attacked, because it didn't come directly from Krysten. He got a sniper shot from somebody else. Then Krysten pulled out the M16 and started just lighting his ass up in front of everybody. And that's why he felt attacked. To your point, the way the episode started with them in the car, at the beginning of the episode, where all the other couples had this happy-go-lucky throughout on their car ride up. These two were having the serious conversation. But what happened? It got to the point that at the end of the episode, she's out there imitating Mitch, and he's loving every minute of it. And I think that's the balance that you got to see, because they had that moment to talk it out.
Right. Well, they did, and I thought it was positive, and I feel like he owned up to what he said.
Yes.
To her, like he owned up to where he was wrong, and I think that's progress, because I think Mitch probably struggles with that. I do like the fact that Poolgate and Attraction are both now dead. That they've shot those with the bow and arrows, and
then Alexis tried to Paul Bearer Undertaker those joints and bring him back to life. Like, let it go, woman. Why don't you try to bring Justin back to life and get him back up for round 2 and see what happens there?
Not much, probably. But what I thought was the best highlight of this episode for me was Krysten's impression of Mitch.
Yes.
I was laughing. I'm like, are you serious? Just the way she looked. Are those plastic forks on?
Yes. Funny. And I like the fact that he was, because you notice, even in that moment, she went, tell me when I'm doing too much. Yeah. And he was like, no, I love it. Keep going. And I like that, because you got to be able to laugh at yourself. I mean, I can laugh at myself, you can laugh at yourself. There are a lot of people who can't and would be offended by it. And I like the fact that he was able to laugh at himself, laugh in that moment. And one of the things that, I don't know how many people noticed this, but once she was done, they hugged, and she's standing next to him. He actually put his hand around, in that nice little coupley way of putting his hand around her waist, just pulling her closer. And I think a couple of the other couples noticed that. Like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. They're a little more touchy-feely, because, they kissed at the at the dinner. But then that moment, I think, there's so much more that happened between them in this episode that I just think it got to a great point for them. I feel good about them right now. I still don't think they're going to make it, but it feels good for them.
But I agree with you. I think their level of intimacy did grow throughout this episode, because at the beginning, when they were doing the archery, it's like the hug that it just felt like y'all are brother or sister,
right?
And you're forced to go apologize to your brother and give him a hug. It just seemed fake. And towards the end, I think you can see them really starting to reconnect. So
he got some that night.
I'm hopeful.
He got some.
He got some?
He's like, keep the hat on, though. Take that shirt off. Keep the hat on.
Tell me more about plastic forks. Tell me about it.
Talk dirty to me.
Talk dirty to me. Tell me
K-cups.
People who don't recycle. Plastic Jello shots. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Another crazy moment in this entire thing was the prom superlatives. They threw the prom mostly for Lindy. Great gesture by Miguel. And we'll get to Looney, Lindy, and Moody Miguel in a little bit. But before we do that, we got to talk about these prom superlatives, because it's like they created them enough for everybody, right?
I thought it was great that I think here in America, we take proms for granted. And I had worked at a company, and we did a prom we had people in Greece that were on the team, and they've never heard of prom. And, they're out in Greece. So we did a virtual prom. This is during the pandemic. Literally, where we all dressed up, and we had a DJ, and you can vote, prom, king, queen. I mean, it was really dope. But for them to never have seen or experienced a prom, you take it for granted, right? And so I
they're probably like, what the hell is wrong with y'all over here in America?
They're They're probably like, okay, what point do the guns come out? Because that's all we see. So I thought the prom was a nice deal, nice experience for Lindy. Best dancer is Nate. I don't know. I didn't see a whole lot of dance moves to warrant that, but he did a little Michael Jackson spin.
The Michael Jackson spin and up on the toes was horrible because if you're going to do the Michael Jackson, you got to actually get up on your toes. Okay. But if you look around the room, you got to read the room, right? I think that was said a lot in this episode. Read the room. A lot of other people weren't going to get that. You knew Krysten was going to get him. She's like, I voted for myself. Even Mitch was like, oh, hell no. There's nobody else in that group right there that you think like, oh, yeah, they can dance. So he has some rhythm and he doesn't overdo it. That's why he got best dancer because, yeah.
Well, I knew it wasn't going to be Krysten when she said that. I like the clips that they did. I was like, no, that's not your thing. You're so pretty when you stand still. You're so pretty when you just stand there and talk. Most emotional, Justin.
So obvious. So obvious.
But he took it like a champ because he got the mic. I was like, good for you, man. He went into it with good spirits.
Yeah.
Most drama was Lindy. Okay. Totally
Obvious.
Can see that.
Yeah.
Totally can see that. Most likely to save the planet was Son-Of-A-Mitch, of course.
Yeah, Captain Planet himself. Yes, of course.
But then also class clown was Mitch. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. I like the way he took a lot on the chin this episode and just rolled with it. Like, some people do this, and some people save the planet, some people are here to make other people laugh. I do both. You know, it's just like, I'm going to own it. Because that's what it is in that moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Best all around was Stacia. Mm-hmm. Except not Crier. She's the worst.
Yeah.
Crier of all of them.
If you know, they've made her out to be this great package, great, because she is. She's definitely a good person. You'd never want to see her cry because, Jesus Christ, the devil's trying to escape. Am I lying? All right.
Most likely to stay married, Lindy and Miguel. Well, we shall see.
yeah. That's funny. You know why, though?
Yeah.
But it's their fault, and we'll get to them in a minute, but it's their fault for putting up that false narrative this entire time. Remember, we talked about that in previous episodes, like in front of the other couples, they're like, they want to put up, we're perfect, we're great, we're perfect, we're great. We saw what happens this episode.
Most likely to end up in multiple divorces, Krysten. I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You did enough jokes tonight. That probably wasn't a good joke.
It was not. I will say he took it well because even if I agreed with him when he said, oh, that's Bitter Morgan, easy. And no, it was his wife. And of course, how do you feel about that? How can you feel about that? Because she's basically telling you, because she's never been divorced. So she's telling you she's leaving you. You're her first marriage.
She's like, next week, get my first divorce. But speaking of divorce, we think it's coming. Lindy and Miguel.
Yo, these two, man, obviously, I think as we can see, Miguel has had it up to here. And here, and here with Lindy's shit, right? Because Lindy obviously has no idea how her tone is and how it comes across and why Miguel keeps making a point about that. And he just it felt to me like he was trying to nip it in the bud in the beginning because he noticed the pattern. And I thought, especially at the prom, he picked the wrong time to talk about it.
He did. I mean, this whole trip, he came into it with a little sand in his vagina. And so he was just in this mood. I'm like, what is your deal? Yeah. Why are you so cranky? And I think it goes to your point that the producers let us see what they want us to see. Mm-hmm. And so maybe all the times that they were having these issues, they weren't showing any of that and just kind of building up and saving that for the end.
Right.
But I felt like he just went a little overboard over that whole photographer thing. And I just thought that whole dialogue was so petty for him to be that pissed. And it boils down to, and he finally calls it out, that he had a bad week.
Yeah.
He's not in a good mental space. but don't take that out on your partner on a prom that you put together for her.
That's why it's the wrong time. However, I will say this. The photo wasn't it, right? Like you said, tough week, all this other stuff. Don't take it out on her. I agree with all that. But that wasn't it. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. We all know a straw can't break a camel's back. It's the other shit that was piled on top that just little bit just adds to it, and that cracks it, right? And that's what happened, because when they did and they set this up perfect. You got to give the producers some props on this, because they set this up. They showed us all of that last week, right? And they showed all the things she has done leading up to the whole cursing him out and, all of that. So they showed that. So you see this build-up. We've watched this build-up the entire season. You and I have called it out every time and said, Looney Lindy, that's right. This is, we adopted the name from Awakened 11. And here we are now. And the fact that he's now at his tipping point, right? And it doesn't help that she has no accountability for what she did in that moment. Like, what he really got upset about was he's like, "Are you mad?" No. She lied to him, right? And now did he make a bigger deal than he needed to? Yes. But she didn't even take any account. She's like, "Well, I didn't do anything wrong." No, you did. You lied to him. And the way that she's spoken to him in the past, and the way she kind of, her tone wasn't even as tough as she's been in the past. So it wasn't a lot. It was just, he was at his tipping point. That's it. That spark.
So I wonder, though, would Miguel be at his tipping point if Lindsay was producing and bringing home the same income he was bringing home?
Well, here's why. No man wants to be talked to like that from his partner, right? And the way she has talked to him throughout this entire season has been mighty disrespectful for someone who's bringing absolutely nothing to the table. Even if you're bringing something to the table, you ain't talking to me like that. It ain't never happening, all right? And that's why he said, "You'll never talk to me like that. Don't do that." Now, what he was talking about this time is what he should have said to her when she cussed his ass out laying in that bed. But he didn't. He let that slide. And the problem is, when you let that slide and she goes, "You've only seen me at a 4.5, and you let that slide and don't address it, this is what happens. But you see how irritated he got on the carriage ride. He got irritated on the carriage ride because as he's reciting, pouring his heart out, reciting his poetry or his weak-ass raps, whichever one you want to call it, she's like, "Ooh, squirrel, squirrel, and another squirrel, squirrel." And he's just getting, when she did it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be bad." And then she kept doing it over, but that's her personality. And you notice it in everything. Even when she sat down later that night, she sat down and said, oh, this is wet. In the middle of a serious conversation. She can't help it. She really can't help it.
No, she can't help it. She chooses not to help it. That's bullshit. If somebody is telling you something, if they're like, "Hey, I wrote this poem for you, I'm going to recite it for you," that's when you stop and go, "Oh, this is listening time." Okay. And you're engaged and you listen. And have you never seen a rabbit before? Have you never seen any of this stuff before? It'd be one thing if you've never seen any of that. Yeah, you've never seen a horse? Stop it. So I think she was wrong, and I don't like being interrupted if I'm having a conversation with people.
So what?
Professional conversations.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Stop it. Stop it. But I don't like being interrupted. But it happens. But I think to your point, once you're already irritated with somebody,
yes,
no matter what they do, if she were to fart, he'd be like, "Ugh, can't believe."
Could hold it in?
Flatulence. Yeah, you can't hold it in on a carriage ride? Seriously, in front of the horses? Like, he's just going to be so annoyed at anything she does.
Yes.
But if anybody is trying to tell you about something, "Hey, I wrote a poem for you," they're trying to connect with you, something that they did, you listen and be engaged.
Yes. But she doesn't know how to be engaged because it feels like she's always been like the center of attention, especially in the house. Everybody's so overprotective of her that it's just like it's been all about her. So when it's not, it's she doesn't know how to handle it. Because again, for somebody who still clueless, and it's like, well, he wouldn't be able to handle my outburst. You're still stuck on that. It's the same crap we've seen in other shows where, well, oh, that's just how so and so is. I think Lindsay was that way when they're like, oh, well, Lindsay, that's just how Lindsay is. Her dad and her brother gave that to her. So then when she blows up, they let that happen. Same thing with Lindy here. Lindy's just like, well, you know, this is minor because when I blow up, it's going to be worse. Because she gets away with that crap. And this is the thing. So when he's there pouring his heart, I know you're not listening. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shut the hell up. And that's what he did. He's just like, I'm done.
Yeah, what's the point in telling you this? Because I'm in mid conversation about a poem that I wrote about you or about me. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, oh, look, ponies. You know, just totally distracted. It's annoying. Yeah. But the drama that she is... This is why I couldn't be Miguel, because I'm a sarcastic asshole. I'd go to Costco and get a big family-sized pack of animal crackers and juice boxes. And whenever she starts throwing that little tantrum, I just go, I'm listening. Go in the cabinet, got some animal crackers and juice box, and be like, go to the room, take a nap. You need some animal crackers and a juice box, and you need to be by yourself for about an hour.
I will say they had a lot of lines in this episode. These two, like when Miguel said, "You've also never had a husband that stuck around."
You saw her face. She's like, "Bitch, what?"
Yo, she was about to go full blown on him. But then even she threw out a line where she's like, well, I'll write this down in my book of things I can say.
But Miguel was all over it. Just say what you feel. Say what you mean what you say. And I'm like, she did. Like, let it go.
Yeah.
But he was wrong for that. You haven't had a husband that stuck around. I'm like, she was never married. She was engaged.
But it was a hell of a lot.
And then she was like, have you had a wife that stuck around? He's like, well, no. I'm like, why would you say that?
Look, here's the thing, though. I can't lie. By the time we got to that whole sunset video, where she asked the producer to take the video, and I totally understood why she did that. And it was still kind of petty on her side, but I totally understood because I probably wouldn't have asked him either.
Yeah.
But I was done with Miguel's Alexis because he goes into this whole other thing, and then when she goes to hug him, and he was like, he doesn't hug her, and when they talk about it later, he's like, well, I wasn't rejecting you. I was just not feeling connected to you. I'm not... maybe I don't understand this. Would you like to translate that for me?
I don't know. I don't know how he gets connected. If it's from physical touch or just from afar. Like if she goes further, I guess absence makes the love grow stronger. Don't know.
Yeah. He's like, well, if you step over the ledge, I might feel a little connected that way. I mean, he was a total killjoy this entire retreat, right? I mean, even at dodgeball, he took that bitchin' shit up another notch to like a notch or 10 is where he took it up. Because, I mean, God. And I think Stacia said it best, because you saw the look on her face while he's talking and venting to her, and she's just like, he's at his limit. And basically what you're saying was there's no coming back for him. He's done. He's checked out. It's over.
Mm-hmm. Well, same as when Lindy was talking to the rest of the group. Mm-hmm. They're after a while just like, oh, God, she's still going. Like, where'd it go? Oh, shit, now she's crying. I guess we got to address it. Hey, girl, you all right? The whole dodgeball thing, I love Nate out of that. He's like, how's it feel to be a loser? Just talking shit.
Nate out there.
Exactly what I would have done.
Exactly. Because Nate was getting his Colin Kaepernick on, throwing the ball and hitting Miguel every time. And the fact that Miguel got irritated that Lindy was cheering on her team just showed you how much he was just done. And I'm sure when they were in the bed, he was on the edge of his side of the bed, just trying to get the hell off. I'm just going to hold on as much as I can and not fall off this bed, but I don't want to get any closer to her. You can tell he was done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, he's totally done with her. But it's a shame. But again, the producers make you see what they want you to see. Mm-hmm. I thought he was such a killjoy the next day when they're having breakfast. Mm-hmm. And just like, I just want to say, I know I brought negative energy with me. Like, you're doing it now. You're bringing negative energy in front of everybody right now.
And threw her under the bus again. I mean, it's just like, it was so bad. It was really bad, but then it wasn't just to her, because when they were picking teams, when he got down to the last part, and he goes, "I'll take Justin, so you don't have all the women over here." And you almost, I think they may have cut this part out where he said it, but he goes, "Even though it's like having another woman on my team with Justin." Okay, he didn't say it, but I mean, we were all thinking it.
See, look at you starting some mess. Starting some mess.
I just thought it was, to me, Miguel really was the killjoy in this episode, and I was really kind of disappointed in him. I mean, because we gave him, a pass when he was just like, "Oh, we'll figure it out when it comes to decision day," because Lindy was so over the top. "I just don't even want to talk about decision day." She was so over the top from the very beginning. We gave him the pass, and then today,
well, but maybe this Miguel hasn't been hiding.
Yeah,
it's just they haven't shown it, right? And I think that's what it is. Is there's been some of these things. They're like, "Oh, that's not a big thing, but we're going to save it. We feel something's going to be big for them later."
Yeah,
because how it seems like they always do that. There's this couple that you're like, "Wow, they are clicking, and everything is going great for them." And then all of a sudden things happen, and then it's a no at decision day. Look at Bao and
Johnny. Yep.
Johnny.
Yep.
Bao and Johnny. We were like, this is it. This is perfect. And here we are.
Well, that was until we found out she didn't take showers, her nasty ass. Hey, don't forget, we are back on Monday with our regular audio episodes, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're waiting for the video, that will drop on Tuesday. And, of course, next Thursday, back here, Married at First Sight, Season 15, San Diego, Episode 15, 1 week away from Decision Day.
Jesus. They're going to drag that out 2 episodes, I bet.
What, Decision Day? I hope not. Because they're
No,
going to do 2
away.
reunions.
Oh, they're going to do next week. It's going to be like the last episode, and then the following week will be Decision Day.
Yeah. And then reunion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then 2 weeks of reunion. And, of course, what was that? October 9th is when we start Love is Blind Season 3. So look out for that as we'll drop that one. We've got 4 weeks of Love is Blind Season 3, because you'll have episodes 1 through 4, 5 through 7, 9 and 10, and then the finale and the reunion. So, hey, looking forward to it, man. There's more stuff coming on the horizon.
Yeah. It's going to be good. Almost done.
See, look, we've broken him. He's like, it's going to be good. I want to make sure y'all heard that, too.
Because I said, because it's almost done.
No, I didn't hear that part.
Of course. You're going to edit that out? That's going to hit that's going to go on the cutting room floor?
No, I'm just Lindy. Squirrel.
Pulling a Lindy. Oh, look at the rabbit. Anyway, Tara, what were you saying? It's going to be good?
Exactly. Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts from the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on our regular show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.